Hello and welcome to this week's Samplecast. I'm Ruben Cornell, this is episode 23. Again, there's a lot to pack into this week. I've got two big reviews for you, some developer updates, but first let's get into the Roundup. First up this week, it's bells and whistles from Sonokinetic. It's a very unusual selection of bells, whistles, as the name would suggest, toy, percussion and other crazy sounds too. You can use it in animation, cartoons and comedy scoring. It's absolutely perfect for that. There's 20 different instrument types here and it runs in the full version of Kontakt. In total it's 1.5 gigabytes in size and you've got 3 microphone positions on board and also a useful grab bag mode which assigns a lot of different sounds across the entire keyboard. That's useful for some instant inspiration. I did the tutorial video for this, you can check it out on the Sonokinetic website, just head to sonokinetic.net. I want to give a shout out to this one because it's a very unusual library developed by an interesting developer. It's C Trumpets by Tangent Edge Instruments. Now it samples large seashells or conchas as they're also known, it runs in the full version of Kontakt and there's 35 different conchas that have been collected here and sampled. You've got presets for both monophonic legato playing and an ensemble mode too, and there's lots of controls on the interface including the ability to mix in a set of reversed samples, which gives a great kind of interesting effect, a little bit unusual. There are also stereo controls here, there's LFO, an FX panel and lots of other options too. Profits from this library are split 50-50 between the developer and the collector of these shells who also performs on the library. This is a really nice touch and it's something that I'd like to see some other libraries do, contributing to the people that actually supplied the instruments in the first place. You can check out a free demo at the Tangent Edge website. If you've been lurking around on music forums or Facebook or Twitter for the last couple of months, you can't have failed to notice Keyscape by Spectrasonics. It was announced the other day, it'll be released later on this month, and it's a huge 80GB library of 36 vintage sampled keyboards. It runs in a bespoke engine and there's also duo instruments here where they've combined 2 or more keyboards together to create interesting tones. This apparently has been 10 years in the making, which I can well believe if you have a look at the tutorial videos and walkthrough videos online, as they've stripped and cleaned, replaced parts of the keyboards and really gone through a very clean and tidy signal path to capture the authentic sounds of all the keyboards. The keyboard sounds here integrate nicely with Omnisphere, and as I say, you should check out the videos online. You can hear some really amazing pro players really give it their all and wax lyrical about the library. I'm not going to go on about it too much because I'm sure you've seen the publicity, but have a look at the Spectrasonics website. From one extreme to the other, from a huge library to a tiny one, this is Beatbox Beast from VSToff. It sampled actual Beatbox performers and runs in the full version of Kontakt. You've got 40 Kontakt patches here, 440 samples, and the samples here have been named by traditional drum names, so you've got kicks, snares, hi-hat, that sort of thing, even though they're performed by a human being. Lots of that. I'm terrible at beatboxing, you should probably pick up this library. You've also got bonus MIDI patterns here included. I had a little play and listen to the library. It doesn't really sound like an actual beatboxer, you'd have to get some full-on loops to do that. But for one-shots it's an interesting percussion oddity. Check it out at VSToff. This library was released a couple of weeks ago, but I've only just had time to cover it. It's available via Time and Space and it's 0G formation. It bills itself as a formant sound designer, basically running in Kontakt. It's a 2.5 gigabyte library running in the full version. You've got 250 Kontakt presets, lots of options under the hood for modulation and an onboard arpeggiator too. It really excels in hybrid synth style sounds, all with a kind of electronic edge. And the unique twist with this library is that you can add a second layer of synthesis to the sounds to give it a kind of voice formant effect. You can manipulate that formant to generate additional audio. I haven't played with it myself, don't know how it sounds, but the demos online give a rough idea of the sort of thing you can expect from it. Check it out via the Time and Space website. Although it's a small library, I'm giving this one the whole big review treatment. It's Wavesfactory Sharine, and I don't know about you, but I can't get enough of shaker and tambourine samples. I'm always searching for more loops in the correct kind of swing and the correct rhythms. So this library I think was really interesting from the off. This is a shaker and tambourine library, runs in the full version of Kontakt, and you've got 3 different microphone positions here. It's got 8 shakers and 4 tambourines, and these are all available in one instance of the interface. You just click them on and off. It's got a simple enough interface with hits and rolls, and there's also a sequencer on board for creating your own patterns. There's also an effects rack which has some interesting effects and also a convolution reverb setup. So the first thing to say about this library is it really sounds great, and I can imagine it being a huge time saver for me, especially with these sequencer presets that you've got on board. Wavesfactory have made a big deal about the pre-roll function in this library, which plays shaker transients automatically without them becoming out of sync. I tested this extensively in a DAW, and I have to say I found this worked very well in practice. So for the minus points of the library, well, the FX rack is useful, but the way it loads the effects into a virtual rack and then you have to scroll backwards and forwards with the arrows, it's needlessly fussy, to be honest. You probably could have done all that on one page. Also, the small number of FX presets are pretty useless, and you're better off creating your own. This library is a little bit pricey, I think. It's around €60. Now, Wavesfactory have increased the prices of their products across the board, and I've got nothing against this. I mean, obviously producers have to eat, especially as Wavesfactory's quality is normally pretty high, but this particular library would be at my upper price range for shakers and tambourines. Overall, I do think it's got a great sound. It's got a really slick pre-roll system. It keeps nicely in time with your DAW, and the presets are useful and hugely time-saving. If you've got the budget for it, this could be all the shakers and tambourines that you ever need. Two huge developer updates for you this week. The first is Vienna Ensemble Pro 6 by VSL. This bills itself as the definitive cross-platform solution for sample playback on networked computers, and a lot of pro composers will be using this. Thousands of composers in fact use it to link their workstations with their DAWs to slave computers for sample playback. New features here make it faster and more versatile than ever before, including Retina graphics support, rewritten code for up to 80% faster CPU usage, and improved multi-threading performance too. Apparently there are also new mixer and plugin hosting features and a whole host of other advances as well. I don't really have time to go into them here, but they're all listed in detail on the VSL website. For anyone who already uses Vienna Ensemble Pro, it's most likely a no-brainer to upgrade to this version. For everyone else, you should check it out if you're using large templates with slave computers. Its workflow probably will win you over, and it's why it's been so popular over the years with many composers. Native Instruments have landed Komplete 11. This is an update to Native Instruments' very popular synth, sampler and effects package. You could almost call it industry standard. Pretty much everyone I know has got some sort of version of Kontakt or Komplete or one of the instruments on board here. They've added products including Reactor 6, Una Corda Piano, India, which is a percussion and tonal library, Replica, which is a delay effect, Strummed Acoustic Guitar, and Kinetic Metal, which is a tonal percussion and texture library. There's a brand new synth here as well called Form, which is a glitch-style sample processor with a really interesting graphical interface for chopping up and glitching your samples. It's worth having a look at the videos online. They give a quick and easy idea of how Form works in action. As ever, there's also an Ultimate Edition of Komplete, which adds even more libraries. That brings it up to a total of 87. Not cheap, but pretty much if you pick up this collection, you're going to have more or less everything that you could ever need. This is another Samplecast big review, and it's Dronar Guitarscapes from Gothic Instruments. This has kindly been sent to me via Time and Space. Thank you so much, guys. It's an almost 6GB library which runs in the full version of Kontakt, and it's a follow-up to their original Dronar collection, which we covered all the way back in Samplecast 1, the very first show. Existing users can get 20% loyalty discount on this and future Dronar libraries, so if you've got any of those, that's worth considering over at Time and Space. So let's get into the library. The raw samples are guitars here, but you wouldn't know it from most of the patches where they've been processed and affected in really interesting ways. The presets are organised into well-named banks and have been designed by composers such as Marianne Fisher and Jonathan Sharp. So Guitarscapes is designed to be played in chords, and it creates subtly shifting ambiances, soundscapes, arpeggios and otherworldly pads. Does a really good job of this, and the sounds are stellar. If you write media music that needs spacey yet organic sounds, then this is really going to be top of your shopping list. The dials on the main interface allow you to control intensity, movement, and you can also add in FX overtones here as well as controlling the basic high, mid and low layer levels. If you delve a bit deeper into the interface, you'll find options to tweak the effects and layers with randomization of the sound sources too. This is something I found really useful. I love a contact library with a bit of randomization. It really takes the legwork out of choosing individual patches. There are also LFO and arpeggio interface windows and the rhythm window, which adds another layer of customization to the rhythmic sample sources. I did have a little bit of trouble getting my head around how the rhythm window works, but this was actually explained quite well in the manual, so it's worth having a read of that. So the best thing about this library is simply the sound. It is gorgeous and the sounds are so tweakable. The randomization, as I've said before, is a huge asset and the presets are really well categorized once you understand how they work. It was also nice to be able to load 12 presets at the same time and change them on the fly using the red key switches at the bottom of the keyboard. That gave me a lot of opportunity to audition sounds without going backwards and forwards and loading up each one individually. I'll also give a special shout out to the gating control on the interface. Gating is something that I use a lot in my own productions, and it's always something that I set up separately in Camel Space or I manually do it in my DAW, so it was great to have it on board this particular instrument. The only negative point that I can really raise is perhaps Guitarscapes could be a little bit overwhelming for beginners, as there's so many options of customization if you get off of the main page. Luckily the manual will help, it's really well written and it explains most of the functions in a good amount of detail. Overall I think this is a great library. It's well priced, especially with the intro deal and loyalty discount. So I can't wait to hear the next module, and in the meantime I'll probably spend weeks and months playing with this one. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's Samplecast. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have done, please share it on Facebook and all the other social media platforms that are out there. You can contact us on Twitter, on email, and also on Facebook too. Just head to the Samplecast page. You can check out the main website at thesamplecast.com, and also don't forget about the podcast. This is where I can expand on the main content of the show and give you a lot more audio examples, and everything that I've kind of talked about you can hear in action. I'll be back again next week. Thank you so much again for watching. Bye bye now.